Ready to make a difference? This is the Palm Harbor Chamber of Commerce podcast, where we connect you with the stories behind our local businesses.
Welcome to the Palm Harbor podcast. I'm your host, Kert Rhodes, and today we have Joe and Gary from Blue Collar Home Services. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Let's dive right into it. Who's Blue Collar Home Services? What do you do? I know you're Gary. What's your last name?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Gary Hall, owner and operator of Blue Collar Home Services.
Okay.
We focus on the trades. We're a residential service company.
Yeah.
Again, locally, family-owned business here in the area.
Okay.
So right in Palm Harbor.
Right.
Currently, right now, we specialize in electrical services and HVAC as well.
Okay.
Myself, I'm an electrician by trade, so started that when I was in high school. Started when I was 16, so
Okay.
followed my father's footsteps. I got a great opportunity through him as well. You know, I got to start working with APG Electric when I was 16 in the summers of high school.
Wow.
So from there, continued going with it. Went to the
Was that even allowed back then?
limited hours.
Not saying a legal standpoint. I'm just saying because
limited hours and limited scope of work.
Okay.
Right. So.
All right.
But with that being said, went to the apprenticeship program and continued doing that, and worked in the commercial sector for about 14 years. And obviously with the 06 to 08 house crisis, it
Right.
changed the dynamics and stuff a little
Yes,
bit.
it did.
So yeah, I got a great opportunity at that point, and we ended up building Mr. Sparky Electric. I started working there in 07. We were about it was just two of us, and we did that for about 10 years. Until the business was finally sold by the owner to someone else.
So you started Mr. Sparky.
I was one of the members that got it going for sure. It
Awesome.
wasn't my business, but it took a lot of hands.
I remember those trucks driving around back in the day.
Yeah.
Still are, but
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Like I said, it took a lot of people, a lot of years, a lot of time, and it was a great thing.
Okay.
But when it sold, that's kind of when I decided it was time for me to do my own thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of private equity firms buying up the trades companies, and that's been going on for about 6 years roughly in the area. So it's actually pretty tough to get a hold of a true family-owned, locally owned and operated company anymore because they've all been purchased by equity firms and things of that nature. So. Yeah, so we started Blue Collar Home Services roughly about 6 years ago. Now, that business started as Sunrise Electric and Sunrise Heating and Cooling.
Right.
And then just 1 year ago, we decided to rebrand and kind of change the narrative. And since then, we've been getting out a little bit more and trying to make sure everybody knows that we didn't go through that process of selling to investors and this and that. We're still the exact same company.
Yeah, explain the rebrand.
Exactly. So I've been getting out, doing a little bit more networking. Just want to control that narrative and make sure our customers don't think we went that route. But Blue Collar Home Services, we're looking at offering more trades in the future.
Okay.
And we're actively working on that right now. And we just felt that name better fit our mission and what we are looking to accomplish. So it's been a great thing. Joe here has been a integral part in helping with the rebrand and changing all the marketing and everything with that. So it's been good. It's been well received by the community and from what we're hearing from our current customers, they're enjoying it.
Okay.
But like I said, there's still you spend 5 years building a business and then you change the logo and you change the name. There's definitely going to be some obstacles within that. So it's been a good year, but it's definitely had its obstacles.
Okay.
Right. So
And you're located right next door to the chamber.
We are.
Literally.
Actually, fun fact, years ago when we started the electrical and HVAC right here in Palm Harbor, we used to have our weekly meetings in this building because we are the space we had for the
That's
warehouse. We didn't have enough room to have group meetings and stuff. So we used to meet in here every Tuesday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, for years.
Very interesting.
Yep.
So understand a little bit more about the name Blue Collar.
Sure.
How did you come up with that? Did Joe come up with that? Is there a reason why you both have blue collars on today? I mean, is this kind of a coincidence? No.
So, Blue Collar for me has always been, kind of the foundation I've just built on and worked on. Again, I spent almost 15 years in commercial construction,
Sure.
and those are high rises, hospitals, healthcare facilities, building schools. So moving into the residential side, it's not as much construction we do now. It's a little more service oriented. But at the end of the day, you know, I know when I was getting out of school, there was just a huge push for computers, kids to go to college, which is a great thing, you know, if that's the way you're going. But there's great opportunity in the trades as well.
Definitely.
And we currently have four electricians that are going to school, that go to an apprenticeship program that we sponsor. So we really want to, you know, continue their education. We want to foster the idea of everybody becoming educated.
Right.
And but we do the residential service side. We don't do, you know, too much construction, but blue collar at its core for me individually. And the reason I kind of left the construction side was I wanted to have a, you know, my mindset was I have a blue collar work ethic, but I have a white collar mentality. And want to grow and want to foster, and really I enjoy training younger people to come up into it. So we've maintained that, and that's where blue collar just stuck, and we decided to keep riding it.
No, fair enough. I think it sounds like you're more of a white glove type of home service, right? And the reason why I say that, I want to go back to what you said before, because it's very interesting. You have a lot of these private equity companies coming in and buying up a lot of the trades.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody has their personal opinions on that. You know, it's kind of like corporate, you know, sometimes it can be very, very difficult to navigate through that. Yeah. But if you have a blue collar type of white glove service, I think it hits home a little bit more for maybe residential.
It definitely needs
owners.
to. You know,
at least for me, because I'm a homeowner. Mm-hmm. You know, am I going to call a corporate company to come out and do it? No, I'd probably call blue collar. I'm going to lean much more towards you guys than, say, a corporation.
Yeah, you know, and it's hard to know who is and isn't, you know, a corporate company now, because they've purchased so many of them, and a lot of the private equity firms have bought 3, 4, 5 companies in this area, and they're keeping them the same brand.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me,
but being part of the chamber, you know.
Exactly, you do know.
You start to peel back the onion, right?
You know, as a consumer and anybody in our community, if you want to get 3 fair quotes from different companies, you want them to be from different companies. And that's the difference now, is these equity firms own 5 of the same AC or electrical companies in the area. So you think you're getting a quote from different companies, and you're not. They're the same brand. They're just a different name. But outside of that, you know, the home services side is about professionalism. You know, all of our team members are background checked, drug tested, and some people, you know, I've had customers say, well, we don't care about that, but we do. And if I'm going to put somebody into someone else's home, they need to be trustworthy. They need to be well trained. They need to be able to, you know, identify, you know, what the customer is looking for, and try to come up with a customized solution for them based on what they're trying to accomplish. And we spend a lot of time training our team members to work with the customers, and that's where the white collar mentality, or like you had suggested, the white glove, it's just not a one size fits all scenario.
Yeah.
When we're working with a customer, your wants and needs are different than another customer, but then the system itself has its own intricacies that, you know, you can do or you can't do. So it's always a custom, you know, thing, working with customers. And that's what I really enjoyed about it.
I think folks want to be educated,
yes,
to a certain degree, right?
For sure.
Kind of the ABCs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not like they're going to go out and install an HVAC, right? I'm not going to go do it.
Yeah.
Right. But I know certain things, right?
For sure.
But you want to come in and have a professional home service like blue collar, come in and do that, so you know it's done correctly.
Absolutely.
Because you were talking about, you know, electrician and HVAC, and that can get kind of tricky if, you know, just kind of the norm, like homeowner like myself, try to dabble into that, and things can get a little sideways.
Yeah, well, you know, you're trusting a contractor for guidance. And just here recently, we were called out to go to a home this week where they had a generator installed out of a company that came from 2 counties over. They did private inspections, so it didn't actually go through the county or the municipality here in our community. They did private inspections and they set the generator, the gas, the fuel, all on the wrong side of the home. It's all completely wrong. She's been with no generator for over a year. Here we are in hurricane season, and it still is not able to work. So, you're looking for that guidance,
Right.
and then also a company that you can reach out to say, if something doesn't go according to plan, someone who's going to, be accountable for that. And so that's what we are here to do is guide the customers in the right direction. And if we make a mistake, we're going to stand behind it.
Are you just in the Tri-County area, or are you beyond that?
No, we work in Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough County, and that's our area that we're staying in.
Yeah.
We will go outside of that for some relationships that we have.
But there's enough business here.
Plenty. There's plenty. I mean, there's a lot of competition. This is a highly competitive market for what we do. Any of your top cities in America are going to be highly competitive in this arena. And our thing is, we want to stand up to the rise in all these equity purchase companies that are then sending their profits to other states. We want to keep the money in our community. We want to keep it in our households. We have a call center with multiple people answering phones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all those are full, W-2 employees that live here in the community. And a lot of companies outsource that side of the business.
Oh, I like how you cover it on your basis.
Yeah, it's
from start to finish.
Throughout the years, we've tried different things, and it did not take long to realize that our customers and our community enjoyed it more when we had in-house, employees for everything that we did.
Sure.
But a call center is one of the pride and joys I've always had was building that up and training them equally to collect the correct information and take care of the customer, because that's the first line of defense. That's the first person they talk to.
You pretty much have, in my opinion, you got 30 seconds to really explain to that customer
exactly
what's going on.
Why choose
you? Right. Education, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Education.
So yeah, we balance. Like I said, we've got multiple people that are in trade schools. We are a big promoter of that. It was a huge benefit to me to spend that time to learn things the right way. That's our passion. We've got training rooms and classrooms in our office, and 2 days a week we're taking the entire team, whether it be HVAC or electrical, and making sure that they're sharp on the things that they need to understand and work with the customer.
Education is important, because you don't know what kind of phone call you're going to be taking.
No.
So at least you can be educated and talk to and have a normal conversation with somebody.
For sure.
And codes are always changing. So,
right?
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah. So speak about codes, because I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Codes are changing. I know our audience may not know a lot about HVAC and electricity and what have you. They'll call your services to do that. But talk about just a little bit about the ABCs of codes and why they've changed.
Yeah, so they'll continue to evolve. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years.
Okay.
And based on the year you take your test, will be depending on the book you take your test out of. And just to throw it out there, we just had one of our electricians pass his master electrician's exam. Super proud of him. He's been studying, working on it really hard. So we're a big promoter of education. But outside of that, yes, the requirements are updated every 3 years. It doesn't mean everything changes, obviously. A lot of things do not change at all. But when it comes to grounding, when it comes to safety, any change that's made has to do with safety to the end user. And the National Electric Code is really just the bare minimum requirement based off lifespan of products and making sure that it's safe for the end user. So the updates that are changing are things like GFCI protection or arc fault protection, and they're like seatbelts. At one point, a seatbelt wasn't required in the car. Eventually, there's like, okay, we have enough fatalities or injuries, incidences. We need to put in a better way. We need a better way of doing it. Yeah. So those are the type of updates that are continually happening. One of the big ones in electrical right now is now, even if you do a panel change, you have to have an outside emergency means of disconnect. So this is something that has not been required up until a year ago.
Okay, when did that go in effect?
Just a year ago. Now,
Okay.
it fell
Did not
into
know
the
that.
code cycle about, I want to say in the beginning of 2020, but it didn't get adopted by the counties until that code cycle was adopted, which was just adopted at the beginning of this year. Unfortunately, that's rising costs for homeowners because now what you could have just replaced like for like in the same location, well, now you have to make modifications, put a master switch on the outside of the house, and sometimes it means relocating the panel on the outside. So it's a little more work that's required for the homeowners, which that's, I hate seeing that, especially for something that's a little more convenience based. But
When you say outside, I don't mean to call you up, but when you say outside and saying my house, my panel is in the garage, do you mean outside in the garage, or do you mean outside of the...
On the outside of the house. So currently you probably have a panel in the garage, and
Correct.
on the outside of the home you just have your meter base.
Right.
Now what they're requiring is for an emergency shutoff switch for the entire home to be on the outside of every home.
Okay.
So
The big red one, boom, hit it.
essentially, and there's definitely cases where that's very important,
Right.
for, the fire department and stuff like that, should there be issues.
Very true. Okay.
Like I said, the unfortunate part about it is it raises the cost to the end user, the consumer, and obviously we have to present those costs.
Sure.
And hate seeing that. One of the problems in the area is obviously unlicensed work. I think Pinellas County does a real good job at setting up multiple sting operations throughout the year to catch unlicensed contracting and stuff like that, because those individuals will go in and they don't plan on pulling a permit, and they will give a price for doing it the way we could do it just a year ago. And if they don't permit it, it flies under the radar, and the customer looks at it and says, well, you're 30% higher than this guy. Why would I go with you? And you try to educate him and say he's not doing it the right way.
They look at the bottom line and they look at the dollars. So
And I get it. The consumer, a lot of customers will say, well, listen, if that's the way it goes, it's going to be on him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's if you can get a hold of him. So, but the safety requirements are continually updating, and every now and then they even go backwards. They'll implement something, and after 3 years of it being done, it'll come out of the code book, and for whatever reason it didn't accomplish the goals they were looking for. So,
well, safety first, right? I think that's why they can't change the codes, right? So.
Yeah, and a lot of things on the AC side are more efficiency based, or more regulated for the type of refrigerant that's being used. That's continually updating.
Right. It's changing,
And if you had a certain system from 6 years ago, that refrigerant's no longer allowed, and so you go out there to work on it, and it's like, unfortunately, so the EPA and government are making changes in that area, mainly efficiency based on the AC units. They want to see them more and more efficient.
Yeah.
But again, that's also throwing a rising cost to consumers.
Constantly changing. So I'm looking at Joe's Yeti cup, and I'm looking at that logo. He straightened out the logo. So where did that logo come from? Who started that?
Well, we went through many revisions,
We did.
but that's his skill set right there.
All right.
He's done a great job with not only coming up with the logo, the brand, and we had, I think, 37 to 38 vehicles.
Yep.
We had to rewrap this year, changing from the old logo to the new one.
Yeah.
We got a golf cart to go, so that's the last one in there. So I'm taking my time with that.
So how does Joe get involved in the business? You want to talk about a little bit
Sure.
about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm Joe Guerre. I came aboard last July. I previously, in my other life, was in insurance for about 18 years.
Okay.
I come from New Jersey, moved down here in about 2004. I was in the insurance business. It was comfortable, corporate. I have 3 boys. It was it was standard. I didn't have to worry about much, so I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants, and just I was okay doing what I was doing. I was in marketing, but eventually ended up being.
You were in a nice little groove.
Yeah, I was in a groove, but I was very complacent. I
Okay.
just did not. I never liked insurance. Never liked what I was doing. I enjoyed some of the people I worked with, but I knew I needed a switch, and a couple years ago, I just left. I just couldn't take it no more.
Yeah.
I talked to the family. I was like, listen, I got to get out. I got to get out. I got to do something else. So went looking around, and quite honestly, I saw a marketing a role that was right around the corner. I've always loved the trades. I used to do roofing. I used to do a little bit of plumbing. I used to do odd jobs here and there. I always loved working with my hands, and I loved the community. That was one of my big things. I wanted to do something that was in the community, wasn't a corporate. So I came to Blue Collar Home Services. At that time, it was Sunrise.
Okay.
And fast tracked from July to November. We were getting ready to just doing marketing. But then that November, Gary decided to, switch over to Blue Collar Home Services. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been fun. I love every second of it.
Good.
I love being a part of the chamber on the ambassador team.
Okay.
I want to get involved with the community. I never liked, like I said, being in corporate where everybody I worked with was from Philadelphia. Everywhere I visited, my clients was another state. So nobody that I knew or dealt with was in Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
So I really wanted to flip that. So I really tried to get involved with the chamber, with the ambassadors, and love what I'm doing right now. But right now I'm doing marketing and a couple other things for Gary here and there.
He does a little more than that. That's for sure.
That's good.
Yeah, he's a very busy individual.
Let's kind of switch gears and talk a little bit more about the chamber.
Sure.
And why Blue Collar got involved in the chamber. Because not everybody is a chamber member, right? I think in Pinellas County, or not Pinellas County, and in Palm Harbor, we have over 24,000 businesses. I think it's right around there, give or take, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why do people join the chamber? And I'm curious of what you want to say about the chamber.
Well,
Why you joined?
To start off, we've been, the business itself has been a member since the business's inception, 6 years ago.
Right.
And with my past relationship in that business, I focus more heavily on the field service and execution side. And my business partner at that time did a little bit more of the networking. Well, not a little bit more, a lot more. He did more of the networking and the chamber events and stuff like that. And we were dividing, our time and accomplishing goals that way. So once we rebranded and the company had a shift in that dynamic, that's when we registered in with the chamber under our new name.
Right.
And Joe's got a passion for networking in the community, which is fantastic because we're both doing it, and we're just kind of we're spreading ourselves out. So I can go this way and he can go that way. But when it comes to, why the chamber, or it's the community itself, we've always had a big tie in with the community. I've worked for 30 years in the electrical industry in this area alone. So the community's always been big to me.
Right.
For the chamber side of things, I just love getting to know other businesses in the area, helping where I can, and vice versa, learning from others that I can learn from. We've always done a lot with the community. One year we did during the parade, we set up at the property right here on Nebraska, had a bounce house for all the kids in the areas, and we sat there cooking hot dogs.
Bounce house for the adults?
No, not for the adults.
Hey.
But we sat there and we cooked hot dogs and gave out waters to everybody around the that was there for the parade until we ran out of food and water, and was giving it out at no charge. But the community's always been big. We've always been, into different Christmas parades and events that come around. And now that I have Joe in the chamber, he's bringing all the opportunities to us in a timely fashion. So we're proud to get in and help out. We really enjoy it. And like I said, it's also a great opportunity to get our new brand out there. So.
Well, I think you hit on two things that are, I think, very important. As a business owner myself, starting the business, I wanted to kill two birds with one stone, be able to network and be able to give back to our community. Yep. So joining the chamber, you learn that very quickly.
Absolutely.
How can I help others? How can I help our business? And it's interesting. It can go in so many different ways because there's a little over 400 members at Palm Harbor Chamber. Now, do we know every single one? Do all of them show up? No, but that's kind of part of the organization, I guess, if you will. But
Absolutely.
I think if we look at the Palm Harbor Chamber, we have usually 25, 35 people that show up consistently almost at every event. And I think that's important. A lot of people think, oh, only 25, 30. That's a pretty big number, because these are business owners. Mainly these people are business owners. So if you look at our luncheons, we have, sometimes 50, 60. I've had 75 people at our luncheon. So people understand that there is a benefit of being part of the chamber. To, again, network. Gentleman was in here earlier. Mike, he's only like 35 years old. He comes from a background of being really shy. And now he's our honorary mayor. now we can't shut him up. He's got so much confidence. Right. And he really, his testament is toward the chamber of helping him get out of his own way and expand and be who he really wants to be.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I can, since joining the chamber about 6 years ago, my opinion is in the last few years, it has definitely gotten stronger, doing a lot more in the community. So I really like the changes that have recently happened over the last couple of years. Yeah. It's just a lot more going on. And like I said, we enjoy being a part of it and helping out anywhere we can. But, mingling with the other business owners in the community, some people network for leads. I think it's more on the giver's gain. I show up and see where I can be supportive, see where we can help. And you create those relationships over time. And that's what's really important.
It's amazing how many people you can help and it comes back home kind of like tenfold, right? We've kind of heard that analogy probably 1,000 different times, maybe more. So
especially when you're not expecting it.
Right. Yep. So it sounds like you're having Joe is kind of your right-hand man to diversify not just yourself, but the business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, he like I said, he kind of understates a little bit of what he's doing, but marketing, we obviously he had showed up for the marketing position and we got rolling on that, and it didn't take long for me to see that he had skill sets far beyond that, and just a professional approach to things, and his work ethic is bar none. So from there we've continued diving into more and more stuff, and we recently opened a new location out in Odessa. Joe's now just learning the ins and outs. Yeah, just the overall operations of the entire flow of the customer experience from the first initial phone call all the way down to servicing the customers and working on the right marketing trends for the different seasonalities of each division. They have their own ups and downs and seasons, and so we're diving in a lot, working on all that, and really just trying to improve the experience to the end user, which are our customer.
Let's kind of switch gears here. Joe, I know it's very interesting to see new members, I just want to clarify that, new members come in and kind of jump in the deep end. Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? Not everybody does that. Everybody wants to put their toe in the water and say, what are all these little cliquey people doing over here? And oh my gosh, I don't know if I know anybody. And I think Joe just comes in with kind of like a front loader and it's kind of bulldozes his way, which is great.
Pretty much.
Because trust me, a lot of us noticed. Now, you talked about the ambassadorship we have here. And for the people at home, we have ambassadors. We have about 12 to 15 ambassadors. And these ambassadors really go and talk about all the different events that are coming up, because not every event can just happen very smoothly. There's a lot of integral parts that that need to be taken care of, a lot of logistics and what have you. So to a testament to you being a member and then jumping into being an ambassador. Not everybody does that.
Yeah, I've noticed. I thought it was going to be much bigger when I came, but
but just understand and just to be part of that and to jump in a deep end, it's kudos to you. That's pretty much what I'm getting at, because we need more people like you, Joe.
Yeah.
Not everybody that becomes a chamber member wants to be
Right.
part of that. They, for whatever reason, there's 1,000 reasons, but the people that actually show up there once a month
Right.
and talk about our different events, and we agree to disagree, which is great because it's kind of really good dialogue.
Yeah.
And because we want to make sure that our next event, whatever's coming up, we have Palm Harbor Fest here, which is huge. 40,000 people came here for 4 days.
Yeah,
That just doesn't happen just because, right? We have golf tournaments, we have cornhole, we have all these different events. So we got to make sure that when you're showing up and I'm showing up to these ambassadors meetings, we're spending quality time for that hour once a month, because I think it's very, very important. I think a lot of our members overlook that, but when they do come to the ambassadors and they see what it's about, they're like, oh my gosh,
I think it's
how
worth,
how can I
everything
help?
on that, yep.
That's when you really have a different type of chamber member, right?
That's kind of what I was stating, when after he came onto the team, it didn't take long to see that he's passionate about what he does, and
And he has a different skill set. We
got
saw
it.
it. You can see it from a mile away.
Well, and I'll tell you, he lives right down the road. He lives here in this direct community. So I think part of his work ethic and what you're seeing in the chamber is just one, he's doing it for the business. That's passionate for him, but I think he cares about the community.
Absolutely.
And all. So
Yeah.
without a doubt, he's not there just because it's part of the job or something like that. There's not one event that since we've started doing this that he plans on being at, whether I'm there or blue collar has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's also a personal passion of his to stay in the community and be a part of it. And that's what I think is so great about well-working chamber organizations is they are a big part of the community that gets things done and is on top of things, and he always likes to be in the know and be a part of it. So that's what you're seeing.
I mean, it's nice to understand what you guys do and what your passion is and how you want to give back to the community, because I think it's very important. Mm-hmm. And I hope the audience, when they watch this podcast, they understand who you are and they use your services, just because you are obviously a very vital business in this community. Palm Harbor's not the hugest community, right? No. We have, I think, 61,000 people in it. So I consider it kind of small to a certain extent, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I've lived here for almost 50 years. Mm-hmm. So I've seen a lot of things come and go and a lot of change, right?
Yeah.
But it comes back simply to the chamber. I joined 7 years ago. I didn't really know much about the chamber. Mm-hmm. I knew the kind of their functionality, but I wanted to give back and help. And that's, we've been talking for almost 35 minutes now, and we've talked a lot about the business, a lot about giving back to the community, and obviously what you're doing to be the kind of the add-on to blue collar. So
Matt's done a fantastic job.
Matt
here
does
with
great.
the chamber.
Matt is our CEO for the folks that are watching.
Yeah, he has done an amazing job. And we all know he couldn't do it alone, So a lot of the other individuals in the chamber and the ambassadors, they're busy outside of here too. But it takes people sacrificing and committing some time to the community to make it what it is. And I live right down the road. We bought a home here about 10 years ago, and for the most part, I've lived in Dunedin. And for everything that goes on in downtown, it's all put on by the chamber. We don't get the resources of the county. We don't have a city here. No. So we don't get those additional funding and resources. And the only way to get it is for business leaders in the area to come together and work together. And nobody's being paid for that. So we got come together and see what the community needs and work together to accomplish that. So. Yeah, we've divided our kind of, scattered out. So he's spent a lot of time with the chamber, and I come into the ones that, make the most sense. But we both share that mentality of giving back. I was one of the founding members of the Dunedin Waterside Rotary Club, a nonprofit, the Palm Harbor Canes. We have a nonprofit travel ball organization that I run as well. So we
Gary's busy.
We enjoy what we do. There's not a whole lot of downtime, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just want to thank both of you for coming in. Appreciate the services you have here. Joe, thanks for being part of the chamber. I know you kind of show up more because you got a lot on your plate. So thank you both. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Kurt.
Awesome.
Yeah, we look forward to doing more, and thank you very much.
Absolutely. If there's anything we can help you with, you can ask Matt,
you.
myself. Yeah. You know where to find me.
Just walk next door.
Gary, Joe, Blue Collar Home Services. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Palm Harbor Chamber newsletter for updates and the next episode. A big thank you to our trustees for their incredible support. This podcast was produced by ABS Photo and Video.